NHIA says it has released over 104 million cedis to service providers. Now, this amount covers the months of August and September 2013. However, the head of research at the Ghana Chamber of Pharmacy is telling us that the amount cannot cover the operational cost of service providers, but they will continue to supply medicines.
By following the payment and in the interest of the public and the service general public and subscribers under the scheme, we are holding on and we are supplying, following the release, and except to add that the release is not in a substantial, it's not good enough to be able to substantially restore our operations into normalcy.
My name is Bright Nanamfu, and this is today's big story. Thanks so much for staying there. The chairman of Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association, GOSPA, Stephen Kokwe, says for the time being, patients are being supplied medicines, but added the situation could change soon if they are unable to get stocks from suppliers.
We work with the medicines for patients, and pharmacists who are in the hospital would have to make sure that there is enough stocks levels of the drugs that are very needed for our patients, especially those on NHIS. You find out that most of our facilities now have about 80% of patients who come on NHIS. There are a lesser percentage who come and do cash and carry. And so if you realize that the chunk of the money that will be used to purchase these drugs actually going to NHIS, and NHIS is not reimbursing the facilities for them to be able to purchase the drugs or pay for the drugs that have been purchased. But most often than not, these drugs are actually given on a 90-day period, and so on a credit. So after the 90 days, if they are not paid, you put them into a very awful situation.
Thanks so much for staying there. Let's be engaged. The two most crucial persons particularly involved in this whole saga. Dr. Ani Anang Adjetey is the Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs of the National Health Authority, and Stanley Agyei is the Head of Research of the Ghana Chamber of Pharmacy. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. Let me first of all go to Dr. Ani Adjetey. Dr. Adjetey, first of all, the Chamber of Pharmacy says that the amount that has been released by the authority is okay, but certainly not good enough, because it says that it is unable to cover the operational cost of service providers.
Yes, thank you, and good evening to your listeners. Yes, I think that the amount released was in the process of being released even before the Chamber of Pharmacists came out with the statement they made, I think last week. And it's just part of the releases that we get from time to time from the Ministry of Finance to service our arrears with healthcare providers. What it is that, like I have explained on the previous occasion, when claims are submitted, it takes time to vet. Indeed, it takes time to put even the claims together. And because it takes time to put the claims together, many healthcare facilities, it delays sometimes in presenting their claims. There are providers who present their claims sometimes 3 months or 4 months late. And once they submit their claims, the law allows us 90 days, that is 3 months, within which to vet, process, and pay their claims. So there's always a 3-month window that the law allows us to pay claims.
So Doctor, you are putting the blame on service providers submitting claims late.
Not on this occasion, but that is one of the reasons why claims delay. There are about 3 or 4 reasons why claims payments delay some of the time.
Right.
This is one of the reasons. Service providers not submitting their claims early enough or submitting their claims late. The other reason is bottlenecks in the flow of funds from the Ministry of Finance to the NHIA. And then there's also the issue of banks. When money is released to banks, sometimes it takes time for the banks to release them to service providers, particularly rural banks, where sometimes it takes a couple of weeks before people actually receive the monies that are sent to them. And then there's the issue of claims not properly submitted. Once there are mistakes in claims that are submitted, we have a duty to get providers to submit the claims properly. That also causes delays.
Dr. Adjetey, let me cut in here. Now, before we talk about what caused this particular delay, now you claim that there are several reasons that might result in delays, and one of it is the delay of funds from, let's say, the authority or from government. Isn't that a major reason why we have these challenges with the scheme?
That is why it would be useful to get somebody else from the other government agencies involved in these issues, in these matters, to clarify the situation for their part. I can speak for the NHIA.
Yes, and precisely that, and precisely that I'm asking that from the view of the NHIA, is the delay from government a major reason why we have challenges with payment of claims?
Of course, in this particular case, we can say that it's a significant part of the reason.
And you also said that this particular delay, what has been the reason?
Okay, I was just going to add that from time to time the Ministry of Finance releases money, and they are aware of the situation. They are hearing everything that is coming from providers and from the Chamber of Pharmacy, and so does so is the Ministry of Health. And all these agencies, together with the NHIA, are working to reimburse providers accordingly. And when I mentioned the 3-month period or 3-month window that we are allowed to process and pay claims, I was going to draw attention to the fact that being able to pay claims up to the end of September leaves us effectively with 1 month outside the 3-month period, which is October. If we are able to cover the payments for October 2013, we are back within the 3-month window that the law allows us, which is November, December, and January, which is what we are working towards. We are able to get back into the 3-month window and be able to process and pay claims to service providers for properly submitted claims within that statutory period.
The concerns are that it happens too often. Service providers not getting reimbursement and therefore bringing the system to a halt. Is it not too many?
The question again, please.
I'm asking that you're claiming that if you're able to settle October, you'll be back to the 3-month window opportunity for the scheme. And I'm asking that the issue of claims delaying, it keeps recurring. Is there something wrong with the whole system, a whole structure? Or is it simply the fact that service providers will not properly submit forms with no mistakes?
All the factors that I have just mentioned are part of the reason why there is perennial delays in claims payments. The 4 factors that I mentioned: improperly submitted claims, banks not releasing monies early enough, Ministry of Finance to NHIA, bottlenecks holding things up, and then service providers also not putting together their claims and submitting on time. So at any particular point in time when there are delays in claims payment, it could be either one or the other of these factors. And what we are doing is to reduce the waiting time That is why we have set up a whole claims directorate, because claims payment is our core business. We're paying healthcare providers for taking care of NHI subscribers. We've set up a whole claims directorate, and also the claims processing center, which is ultra-modern, processes claims efficiently and effectively, and a mechanism that we have replicated across the country. We have set one up in the north and at Cape Coast in the south, and then in the Ashanti region, so that we now have 4 claims processing centers which have brought efficiency into our claims management. So we are putting everything in place to process and pay claims on time. What remains is for a steady flow of the resources that we need to finance or to fund these reimbursements, because the NHIA does not generate any funds at all.
So basically,
we release monies that come to us.
Dr. Adjetey, basically you're saying that the poor flow of funds is the reason why we have all these challenges.
Yes, and given the reasons why there's interruption in the flow.
But I am particularly interested in the poor flow of funds, because it seems the public concern is that once the NHIA is not getting funding from where it should get it, then the challenges arise. So is a poor flow of funds what really causes all these difficulties? There could be other factors.
I guess for a discussion like this, you could have involved some of the agencies that are involved in the transfer or transmission of funds.
I know, but from where you sit, I mean, you sit at the head of the system. So perhaps you have more information as to whether the flow of funds from whichever source is the reason why we keep running into the ditch with this system all the time.
Well, there are 4 major reasons.
I know.
There was a time
Dr.
when
Adjetey,
we were paying claims within 2 months, that is 60 days.
Because at that point, government was releasing funds to the authority in a very good way.
Okay, so regularly funds were flowing, and so service providers were reimbursed quickly and effectively.
Right.
And as and when funds flow, we would need people in other agencies also to explain how the processes work, like I'm explaining for the NHIA, so that we get a fuller picture of how funds are transmitted from one source to another.
We'll do that. But stay on the line for me. Stanley Ajayi is the head of research and advocacy, Ghana Chamber of Pharmacy. Now, Stanley, the NHIA says that it has released some 104 million Ghana cedis. It should be good news.
Yeah, it's indeed good news, except that we added that because of the cash flow difficulties the suppliers went through, while this is coming to do a massive or a great job, it will be more expedient and better if further releases are made, because the cash flow situation that the suppliers went through has been very difficult, more especially in relation to the depreciation of the cedi and the exchange rate. Sometimes they take loans to do the supplies, among others. So definitely it was money we thought has delayed, and money forthcoming is a great news, except that so as to further improve the cash flow situations of the suppliers, some further releases should be made. And as it is made, then we'll be able to restore our service and our supplies to normalcy. How
often do you have to perhaps back on top of your voice before you get releases?
Unfortunately, most of the times as suppliers under health insurance, payments have not been that good or better, except on few occasions when claims or payments come, maybe to stay on time. But it's been a very difficult. But the situation even become more critical when we have the exchange rate depreciation so at a faster rate. Therefore, because most of the drugs are most of the drugs supply are imports. So what happens is that sometimes you make pricing based on exchange rate of, say, 2 cedi. By the time in 6 months or say you are paid, the exchange rate has moved to some level and it has eaten into your profit and going even into your capital. So it's a big issue, and I'm happy Mr. Anand's discussion has been very. Dr. Anand's discussion has been very good by way that he's discussing about the way forward and how the challenges they themselves face through. Meaning, it's not us being unnecessarily being noisy or we being parochial or being wicked or something, except that there were real challenges. That's why we raised the issue. So in discussing, there should be more sustainable way of making sure that some of these things don't happen and we address some of the problems that he had raised this evening.
You talk about a more sustainable way of addressing these challenges and making the system very good. Now, has it crossed the mind of the chamber to perhaps forward a few suggestions to the scheme, and what suggestions perhaps have you been thinking of?
For example, in order to bring some sense of urgency into paying claims on time, the one thing is we suggest or we think we can go at is maybe the introduction of penalty clause into the payment. So any delay of, say, 1 month will attract a 5% interest rate. Just as sometimes when you are paid, the depreciation will have impact on the amount or the money you use to supply. And if you use loan as well to supply or you use loans to sustain your present, you are incurring more debts and more interest rates. So that means any time there's indebtedness, there will be a sense of urgency on part of any stakeholders that further delay will mean incurring some liability, and therefore a sense of urgency will be infused into the payment system.
Hold the line. Don't drop it yet. Let me go back to Dr. Adjetey. Now, Dr. Adjetey, one measure the Chamber of Pharmacy thinks can be used to ensure that the system is running smoothly is to impose a penalty when there's a delay in reimbursement. Is that workable?
Well, I'm not too sure about that because we are always trying to make the scheme more sustainable, and we are, even as we speak, looking for ways of increasing the resources that come into the health insurance fund for us to be able to meet the rising cost of healthcare. Because with every passing day, every passing week and month and year, the numbers of subscribers keeps increasing. Currently, we have 9 million active subscribers on our books, and the cost of care, including changes in technology and all that, keeps raising the cost of insurance reimbursement. And so when you talk about penalties, okay, the penalties should be paid by someone else, but not by the National Health Insurance Authority.
Why not?
Which is doing all in its power to reimburse providers on time.
Why not the authority? I mean, you are supposed to pay service providers. Then we agree that if you are able to pay us quickly, then you have a 1 month penalty. I think that should work.
I think that should be discussed in the context of our relationship with our providers in general, because there are issues also with the way that providers put together claims and submit. There are providers who recycle claims, for instance. There are providers who do all manner of things with claims. And they are the reason why we need to vet claims properly. And some of the time, it takes time to vet claims because if you don't do that, you'll be throwing taxpayers' money away. And so providers also have a responsibility to ensure that the system works even more efficiently by the way that they put together their claims and submit, and also to submit their claims on time. What penalties do we bring against providers who take money off subscribers as well as from the Health Insurance Authority? Because some of them exact co-payments from subscribers on the excuse that they have not received money from the NHIA. Then NHIA comes back and pays all their arrears. Do they refund to the subscribers, to the patients? Do they refund to National Health Insurance Authority? There are issues that have to be discussed all round, rather than to say, let's put a penalty on one party.
Dr. Anand, don't you also agree that if the government knows that if I delay in releasing funds to the authority, I would have to pay extra because there's a penalty? Perhaps it could push government to be a bit more quicker in releasing funding.
Well, that is part of what I call the general discussion around the reimbursement of providers and our relationship with healthcare providers, because the NHIA does not stand in isolation. we are under the Ministry of Health, there's the Ministry of Finance, there are the provider groups, and there are subscribers, and whatever we do, we need to, indeed, for the NHIA, most of the policies that we work with, we discuss with our key stakeholders. We try as much as possible to include everyone. And when we realized that our subscribers didn't have a voice, we set up a call center so that their voice will also be heard and their concerns taken into account. We are doing everything possible so that the various legs of the health insurance system will be well represented, including the government agencies. So this would be better done by including everyone in a discussion as to the way forward.
Right.
Because co-payments, for instance, are a big issue now, and it is providers who are taking money off subscribers and undermining confidence that they have in the system, who is saying that they shouldn't pay a penalty for doing that.
Okay. Let me wrap up with you on this particular issue. Has it come to the notice of the National Health Insurance Authority that CHIPS compounds are unable to attend to patients with NHIS card?
Would you be specific and bring some specific scenarios that you've come across so that we can tackle them?
In the Volta region, for instance, Joy News can confirm that a CHIP compound in the Akachi North District, patients with NHIS card are not attended to because, according to the information we are gathering, CHIPS compounds cannot see to NHIS card holders.
Well, I'm yet to know the details of the particular case that you're referring to, but I'll try to find out more.
But generally, are CHIPS compounds open to NHIS card holders?
Of course, we work with all the healthcare facilities in the Ghana, the GHS in general. So we do not deny health. In fact, in some places, CHIPS compounds are the only facilities that offer modern health care to outlying communities. So we do business with all healthcare facilities, from CHIPS compounds to tertiary hospitals such as Korle Bu, Komfo all along.
Thanks so much for speaking to Dr. Nii Anang-Adjetey is the Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs, NHIA. Daniel Stanley J is on the other side. Let me wrap up, get to the regions and see how the facilities are dealing with the issue of medicine supply. Stanley, so of course, good news is that the money is in, but you think not good enough. Resuming supplies, and then what next?
Okay, so as it stands now, we will continue our supplies under the scheme as far as we can to the best of our abilities. So what's next is that the assurances from the side of NHIA and government is that strong, and it's only that it's on the basis of this that we believe that we shouldn't even talk about, so are you suspending, or that rather the solution is on the way. Until solutions are found by way of reimbursing to the service provider, so as the onward payers, it's going to be a little of a difficulty in terms of their suppliers' ability to bring their operation to full scale.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. Stanley Adjetey is the Head Research and Advocacy, Ghana Chamber of Pharmacy there. Let me trek to the regions. Rafiq Salam is in Wa, the Upper West Regional Capital. Now, Rafiq, the threat of suspension of supplies of medicines, did it in any way affect healthcare delivery where you are in the Upper West region?
To be honest, Bright, the hospital authorities in the Wa Regional Hospital are telling me that they have no such problem because for them, they take all their medicines or their drugs from the regional medical store. And so they have been taking these drugs from the medical stores, after which then the National Health Insurance Scheme, when they pay them the amount involved, then they also defray those payments with the medical store. And so for the Wa Regional Hospital, they don't have such difficulty.
Rafiq Salam from WA, thanks so much for speaking to us. And NHIA is saying that it has raised 104 million cedis to reimburse service providers. Good news, but the Ghana Chamber of Pharmacy is thinking that more could be done, because when the monies are delayed, it affects operations, especially when the city keeps jumping from one table to another. We'll get you more on this particular issue of the threat to withdraw the supply of medicines, but we have assurances that the chamber will go on to supply medicine. Wrapping up the first part of the show, the interactive segment is coming up in a moment. Stay with me. When I come back, I'll be introducing Gladys to carry on the rest of the show. For staying there for the big story. Time now to go interactive and get to us. While we get to you, Gladys has just joined me the beginning of Monday. Welcome, Gladys. It's a good Monday, I guess.
It is. It's right. And especially
a
with
restful weekend.
Oh, well, it was.
What are the viewers talking about today on
social media? Last week Duncan Williams said the city should rise. And TB Joshua says we definitely must pray, otherwise we are heading for a downturn.
You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nana. Right, so welcome to another interesting week. I am Gladys Osei Oredu, and this is when I get the opportunity to get interactive with you. Stay with me. And the social media platform addresses are Facebook/Joy News, and then you can also send us Twitter, and it's twitter.com/Joy News on TV. The handles are at Joy News on TV and #JN Interactive. You could also send us email via joynewsim@multitvworld.com. So get to us with your comments and opinions. And what exactly are we talking today? All right, so as I said, it's another week, and as your humble servant, I have been scouting for what is trending. Well, what you have been talking about on social media, Ghana Cedi Abre. Everyone is talking, and this time round, it's not Archbishop Duncan Williams, it is Prophet TB Joshua. Well, he has asked Ghanaians to pray for the recovery of their local currency. He has also predicted frightening economic crisis and downturn for Ghana. Well, so he has asked that Ghanaians pray in order to salvage Ghana's sinking economy. Well, as you are aware, the cedi has drastically fallen in value against the dollar and other major international currencies, and most of you are already making cartoons and jokes about the cedi chasing after the dollar seriously, and the dollar is saying cheer. Well, let's see what some of you have been saying on WhatsApp. Are you also going in for the spiritual method, a solution to the problem, or you think that it's economic crisis and we need to tackle it economically? So our first WhatsApp is coming from Holland's Jack Vespa. He says, I don't think so. NDC government can't do the job. This government should be overhauled because President Mahama has lost the vision and passion to lead this country. That's deep. Well, so that's coming from Holland's Jack Vespa. Let's see what more you have been saying. Oscar Kweku Clever says, just speculation. Oscar thinks it's just speculation. All right, thank you, Oscar Clever. Right, Adam Sadiq says, here we go again, always blaming everything and everyone for their incompetence. Hey, Ghana. That's coming from Adam Sadiq. Fiano says, both must go hand in hand. So we pray and we also work hard to improve on the economy. So both must go hand in hand. Prosper Silencer says, we should continue praying and work hard as well as to solve the problems. Prayer without action or work is not good. Yeah, so as you pray, you work hard to sustain the economy as well. So you believe in both as well. Okay, Prosper, thank you. Dominic Asari says, I wonder if Western countries like Greece and others blame theirs on spiritualism. Okay, spiritism. Okay. The government should set up. That's what Dominic is saying. We shouldn't just be blaming it on spiritism. Governments should just set up and let the economy rise. Julius Ehoma says, nothing is spiritual. Yeah, we blame Mahama for that. Julius, so nothing is spiritual. Yeah, you blame Mahama for that. I say, well. So that's also coming from Julius Ehoma. Okay, let's see. Okra Francis says, our leaders should wake up from their long sleep. Abba, Ghana. Okra Francis, you are just tired. They should wake up. Probably should pick you. Well, Benjamin Azingo says, what is spiritual about our economy? Please let's top this and manage the economy well and work hard as well. That's all. Benjamin, you think we should work hard. We're not working hard enough. All right, so let me quickly take my last one on WhatsApp. George Carey says, except the Lord builds the house, the builders build in vain. Until God taketh over the government, the government can't take over. All right, so that's what George Carey is saying. Until God himself takes over our economy, the government works in vain, right? So you also believe that we should work hard, pray without season. Well, let me chip this in. You can see I am wearing a red badge. It's a badge to create awareness among women to protect our hearts. So go red for women. Please, ladies, do your best to protect your heart. So Valentine is coming, the month of February has been dedicated for that. So join hands and let's fight all heart diseases, especially in women. All right, so back to our CD, economy matter, spiritual matter. Do you think it is time to look into the spiritual for solutions? Do you think it is a matter of economic mismanagement? Let me quickly speak with an economist, Mr. John Gachi, who will be, okay, so I won't be talking to him now. He'll be joining us via telephone to pick his thoughts on whether it is about time we forgot about managing the economy and looking into the spiritual realm to find solution to that. But let me catch a breather here. When I come back, I will also be joining you on Facebook to see what you have been contributing on Facebook. You're with us on JN Interactive. This is when we get interactive with you via our social media platforms and through our cameras and via our telephones. Well, so I have been joined online by an economist, Mr. John Gachi, who is going to, tell us what he thinks. Hello, Mr. Gachi. Good evening.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. Now, tell us, what do you make of Ghana's current economic standing? Is it a die-die situation?
I can't hear you, please.
I am asking, can you hear me at this level, please?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking you to tell us, what do you make of Ghana's current economic standing? Is it a die-hard situation that we find ourselves in?
You're asking, what have I made of the current economic situation?
Exactly.
Well, I think it is very clear to us that we are facing some economic challenges or some difficulties that is being fueled by the recent high-level depreciation of the currency, which is having serious effects on every aspect of our economic life. That is the situation in which we find ourselves. And this also requires that as a united people, we need to confront the challenges facing us with a unity of purpose to be able to come out of these challenges as quickly as possible. Because as a nation, we have a lot of potential to exploit for our economic development.
Let me ask you, how do you think we can really get this solved? I'm not sure I really got that clear. How exactly can you suggest as an economist that this and this and that?
The line is very, very faint.
Whoa. Okay, let me try again. I am asking you, can you specifically state as an economist that this is one way that you can tackle the situation and would find a solution there?
So I say one way that we can come out of the situation.
As an economist, suggest to us one way that we can use to get out of the situation.
I want to be sure of the question. Are you asking one way that I think by which we can come out of the situation?
Yes, Mr. Gachi.
Oh, very good. I think there are various ways that we can concentrate on. The first thing is, as a people, we must understand that this is a national issue, that we should confront it from a national point of view. So the division that is currently going on, to the extent that we are seeing a lot of panic into the Ghanaian economy, is actually not the best approach to fighting the solution. So that is the first thing that I want to indicate. Then we also need to understand that variously we all contribute to the current challenges that we are facing. That is the reason why we need to support Bank of Ghana in ensuring that these policy measures that have been outlined, we all comply with them, and then the short-term solution will be arrived at. Then we need to move on to the long-term issue of addressing the depreciation of the currency. We need to rethink about how we are going to galvanize and revamp our productive activity in the country. That is very low. We need to see a way of trying to ensure that our policies are geared toward revamping the manufacturing sector, how we are going to make more use of the agricultural sector of the country, to bring about energy into the Ghanaian economy. By so doing, we are helping to increase our productive capability, and by so doing, we are also helping to add value to our products in the country, and that will also affect the diversification of our exports. And in diversifying our exports, we must also make conscious efforts of using materials that we need to use in the country, especially for our construction industry, for our real estate industry, because these areas are booming, and at the same time, the level of imports from outside to feed this industry is so alarming that we have left various technologies that have been developed in the country to feed this industry are not being utilized. So these are the things that as a nation we need to quickly think about to give some meaning to our forward march into the future.
Let me try to find out here. Are you a Christian?
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Gachi. I'm trying to find out your religion. Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
Do you also believe in spiritual matters?
Do I?
Believe in spiritual matters.
I do.
So do you think that it's about time Ghanaians actually rose and prayed for a turnaround, as some men of God are suggesting?
Well, I will not give you a direct answer, but let us take a walk to most of the businesses we have, whether one-man business, small businesses, and large businesses. You will realize that most Ghanaian entrepreneurs believe in God in whatever they are doing. And if you look at our national psyche, during our electioneering campaign, you see a lot of people calling on religious people to seek their blessings, etc. The reality is that the Ghanaian believe that religion plays part of whatever he is doing. And as a result of that, though we need clear, objective, forward-looking, and very pragmatic policies to solve economic challenges that we face. But we cannot discount the essence of God in doing this. That is what Ghanaian is made up of. If you go to other countries like the U.S., they believe in God. They pray. So we cannot discount God and prayer in our national development agenda. I will not contribute to that effort.
I see. So, so in effect, you believe that if we should rise and pray, we are likely to see a positive change in our economy.
Can you repeat that point again?
I'm asking that, so in short, you're trying to suggest that if we should rise and pray, we would see a positive change in our economy.
I do not think that anybody is saying that let us leave thinking about the economy, let us leave all our professional training and just resort to prayer and fasting. I do not think that that is what people are suggesting. We need prayer, we need fasting, we need the word of God as complement to all that we think we know about managing the economy. That is the reality. We cannot run away from God. And I think it is very important that Ghanaians who believe in God in every sphere of life should not, because of this era of depreciation, tend to behave as if we do not like God in the management of the economy of Ghana. I don't think that is what we want to arrive at.
All right, Mr. Gachi, thank you so much for your time and sharing with us what you also think Ghana's economy is like. Well, so we have been interacting with Mr. John Gachi. He is an economist, a Ghanaian economist, and he shared with us his thoughts on Ghana's economic situation currently. Well, let's see what you have been putting on Facebook. So our comments read, and just in case you have just joined us, for your benefit, there has been another spiritual message that Ghana's economic woes are spiritual. Do you think it is time to look into the spiritual for solutions? Do you think it is a matter of economic mismanagement? Share your thoughts. And you have been doing exactly that. So Amos Ado says, what will happen to Ghana if you pick a dish like... Oh, forgive me. I didn't have to say that one. Well, so please be as friendly with your language as possible. It will help all of us. Well, so let me quickly go to Prince Wedu Agri, who says, hear what people are saying, copy Western way, while we always lock our storage to hide because of tax. Telecommunication operators change their names to avoid taxation. Well, Adibo Nuku David says, we can break spiritual, whatever, but if our attitude towards nation building is not changed, Ghana will still remain the same. Idrisu says, prayer plus hard work equals success. Well, George Akwe says, our independence was based on spiritual aspects by the late Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, with the Indian gods called Kankam Nyame, who needs to be sacrificed with a pregnant woman. Now, who is taking charge of that god as well as its safety returns? Give what belongs to Caesar as well as God. George Akwe, are you talking on hearsays or yours is a fact? Well, as Abdul says, whatever you like is or not, NDC has been cursed. That's what is eating Ghana up. So until they live par, Ghana will suffer. Whoa, I see. Please bring us evidence of the curse. So we still pray. Atanga Maxwell says, hey, is this the freedom of speech we all have been clamoring? Well, Abdul Kudus Magdrills says, Ghana's economy is not about spiritual issue, but economic mismanagement. When our top officials stop amassing wealth into their pocket, our economy will boom. Well, Zigato Bishop Lavoie says, when the men of God speak forth, the wise listen. Ghanaians. Let's say Sungbala Titus says, yeah, whatever happening is born to happen. Whatever that happens on earth has already been taking place in the spiritual world, and let's join hands with Reverend Duncan Williams to pray hard. A miracle will happen if all of us as real Ghanaians pray. Okay, Samora Owuswe J says it is total mismanagement on the part of government. They confirm the trees that never were, judgment debt, and many, many more. Well, Samora again says it is a total mismanagement. Okay, so you repeated yourself. Let's say Abubakar says prayer match with hard work. Okay, so prayer match with hard work. So our leaders should work hard before the prayers work. Let's say Taylor's Corner says, I believe prayer works and I will subscribe to that, but I would rather pray for a positive sense of direction for our leaders. They appear to have run out of ideas and are at sea. I suspect they are not seeking the face of God, but suspect they are secretly indulging in fraudulent acts, which is dwindling and sinking our blessed nation, which God has ordained. My prayer is for God to work through the right people. My prayer is for God to work through the right people to alleviate us from this economic doldrums. I don't think those in control now fit the bill. God is still supreme. Okay. Well, so Prince, let me say, okay, Theo Balam says that depreciation of the cedi is a product of things like dollarization of the economy, high imports against low exports, foreigners repatriating their earnings from the economy, etc. So I don't see the spiritual link here, even though I believe in prayer. Isaac Kofi Bedunyako says, my opinion is not spiritual disaster. I think our leaders should calculate things fast before it is too late. Okay, so Chinibi, is it Chinibi? Oh, forgive me. Chinibi Eric says, God works through man. We have to change our behaviors as a nation. Well, Nanaya Wesidu says, whoever thinks the land that's Ghana is cursed should probe Mahama. Well, Pascal George Aqua says, it is fact of economic mismanagement and short-term plan of our leaders, and also bad intention of to continue others' leaders' policy, no spiritual involved. So, okay, you also think it's mismanagement. Ayintara Ape says, no wonder we never progress, always attributing everything spiritual deeds. Why don't you do your part as human and God will do the rest? Okay, so let me quickly take my last two. Okay, I think I'll give that to Yusuf Tesco. There's nothing like seeking for spiritual help because the so-called spirits can't turn to man and work. Everything about the economy is our fault. How can a country whereby when election is over, leaders will not bury their political differences and assist whoever wins, but allow it to swing arms on streets like a mentally deranged person, and people with only sentimental criticisms and not constructive gets a booming economy? Dixon, you'll be my last on Facebook. You are talking to us from Laura. Okay, so even though the prayers might matter, but these men of God and government should give Ghanaians a break. Well, why do you say that? The managers of this country has mismanaged the state, and that is the huge salary that is paying us today. So you think that is the bad deeds of mismanagement that is telling on our economy today? Well, so Nana, do you also think same?
Well,
should we pray?
We would always want to see the facts before talking. Well, let's pray. Prayer is good, but let's see what happens. At 8 o'clock, we'll tell you that Ghana needs an estimated $15 billion over a 10-year period to fully address challenges facing the water, road, energy, aviation, and housing sectors. That is according to economists who met at a roundtable discussion on the establishment of the Ghana Infrastructure Fund. We'll tell you more at 8 o'clock.
All right, so let's also quickly look through what we'll be bringing you at 8. Residents of Bosomdo, a farming community in the Shama district of the Western region, say they are totally deprived of their share of development, citing the lack of basic social amenities such as potable water, place of convenience, and a health facility. So they are therefore calling on government to, as a matter of urgency, come to their aid. And so at 8, William Benjamin Peters will be bringing you details of that story from Western region.
And we also have business, sports, and showbiz coming up right at 8 o'clock. Don't forget to join this network. And thanks so much for having stayed there for 1 hour. We have Tarzan Staker taking up your screens, but there's more news on this network. My name is Brant.
My name is Gladys Osei Uredi. Thanks for your company.